Hello everybody, it's me, your good friend Sparky, and welcome back to Day 5 of Pikmin on Gamecube. We are making one last trip to the Forest of Hope, halfway through our journey of collecting all of the ship parts and helping Olimar get home. We gotta put these straggler red Pikmin that were left planted away real quick, because we don't really actually need them today. The red Pikmin really are only super necessary in the Forest Naval and on day 2, since they're the only things we have to work with. Generally, since they are stronger attack-wise, they are helpful for taking out more troublesome enemies, but we don't really need that right now. We've got enough blue Pikmin right now that we are totally okay with just using them, honestly. And we are definitely going to need a lot of blue Pikmin going forward. I'd go as far to say that blue Pikmin are probably the most important type of Pikmin, considering how many ship parts either need or at least partly require them in order to get them. We are going to be recovering the last 4 ship parts in the Forest of Hope here, and finishing off this area. Hopefully it won't go too badly, considering we do have the luxury of not having to worry about picking and planting Pikmin today. We've got all the Pikmin that we need. We need to get some bomb rocks to help us get through some areas, and we need to sort of just set up Pikmin where we need them. And, yeah, things will definitely be all hunky-dory. Definitely. Positively. Or at least I hope so. Yeah, the blues are, like, really super important, honestly. Since they are the only Pikmin, type of Pikmin that can enter water without being, just utterly destroyed by it. If a non-blue Pikmin does enter the water, they do start to drown rather quickly, and they can be saved by whistling them back to shore, or by blue Pikmin that you throw into the water, who sort of play lifeguard and rescue them and throw them back out of the water. But at the same time, in the GameCube version of Pikmin 1, Pikmin do drown much faster than in the other versions. There is a noticeably shorter window you have to rescue a Pikmin if it starts to drown. And you just want to avoid it in general. Sometimes you do have to lead your regular Pikmin around water, and it can be a little hazardous, but generally if you just stick with the majority of blue Pikmin, you don't really have to worry about that. Blues are definitely, like, necessary, like, completely important going forward. But, yeah, we're just kind of setting things up. We have located a couple different ship parts and have some Pikmin waiting in standby. And, I'm about to do something a little cruel, I guess. You probably should look away, but honestly, sometimes the fastest way to deal with enemies is just to get them to eat explosives, which usually involves a requirement of sacrificing Pikmin, unfortunately. It's the shock absorber! This apparatus counteracts the shaking and swaying that normally occurs during flight. It's smooth sailing with this in place, usually. It does not, however, counteract the shaking and swaying that comes with meteor strikes. But, yeah. I discovered while doing this project that the most effective way to quickly take out enemies in most situations, especially the really strong enemies, is to just have them eat explosives, which in turn requires them to eat a couple Pikmin. it's kind of a necessary sacrifice. I know it's a very mean one, but it does bring up a point of generally an advantage the GameCube version might have over the Wii version with the bomb rock controls. Oh, talk about that in a moment, though. The shock absorber is already back to camp. Shock absorber. This nifty little device counteracts the shaking and swaying experienced in typical spaceflight. Again, not in meteor strikes. I have recovered 10 of 30 parts. If I can find just 2 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. And we will accomplish that by day's end. So, yeah, the way bomb rocks work in this game, where you kind of call Pikmin to have them drop their bomb rocks after you throw them, it took some getting used to, because I was so used to the way bomb rocks worked in the Wii version of Pikmin 1, and by extension, Pikmin 3, that it really just caught me off guard how the mechanics were so different in Pikmin 1 on GameCube. And this guy just refused to die, so Olimar takes care of business himself, and just punches him a few times to take care of him. But something that didn't really occur to me until much later is the fact that since you can call Pikmin and have them drop their bomb rocks in this game, it might be a way of having enemies just eat or take the blast from the bomb rocks, and by extension not sacrifice Pikmin in the process. If you want to be nice and not purposefully feed your Pikmin to enemies, that is actually something that comes into play much later. The whole dropping and running with the bomb rocks, and just not purposefully letting your Pikmin get eaten. But unfortunately, I didn't really think about it in the process. I didn't really think to try it to see if it would work. Because generally, just trying to get the bomb rock Pikmin to reliably use their bomb rocks to take out enemies on their own is not a straightforward science. Theoretically, they are supposed to target enemies and throw their bomb rocks at them in most cases. However, in general, their throws tend to miss. Especially in the GameCube version. I think they're a little more accurate in the Wii version of the game. But, I'm not really entirely sure on that. It's not something I ever really figured out, unfortunately. If anybody would like to shed some light on the matter, the whole bomb rock, of all the bomb rock mechanics and stuff in Pikmin 1 on GameCube, then I'd be delighted to hear it. But, enough about bomb rocks for right now, I guess. We have another problem to deal with. That is a Burrowing Snagret. The Burrowing Snagret is terrible, and I hate them. They are just awful, wormy bird creatures that came out of someone's, like, freaking fever dream or something, I have a feeling. You can only really deal damage when you attack their head, and it's super easy for them to just munch down a bunch of Pikmin. When they get stuck coming out of the ground, there is a good chance to swarm them. And, they don't take much damage from bomb rocks, unfortunately, which is also a problem, because you think just feeding them bomb rocks would take care of the issue, but yeah, it doesn't really work. Thankfully, we take care of that problem, and we find the Geiger counter. Every spaceship needs one of these, but I don't actually know what it's for. Every once in a while, it goes wild and lets out a lot of noise, but I never pay much attention to it, so it doesn't do me much good. I really should read that manual one of these days. A Geiger counter is a device used for checking radiation, and Olimar does not know that. And apparently, the Geiger counter is making a lot of noise on the Pikmin planet, which, is concerning. The general sort of theory of things goes is that, the Pikmin planet is actually a post-apocalyptic Earth, which is really fun to think about, because not necessarily in this game, but in Pikmin 2, you find a lot of Earth-based items, like familiar items. I found my Sagittarius! My son gave this to me as a present. It brings my mind visions of my son back home on planet Hogotate. Oh, to be back there right now. But yeah, you don't really end up, finding much that points towards the whole post-apocalyptic Earth thing in Pikmin 1, since you're primarily focused on collecting the ship parts. Which, by the way, the Sagittarius, the blue Pikmin could theoretically easily take that through the water, but for some reason they can't. They have to take the bridge. It's a little odd. Geiger counter. This noisy gauge is always letting off spontaneous clicks and buzzes. It can be kind of annoying. I have now recovered 11 of 30 parts. If I can find just one more, it should increase my ship's capabilities. But yeah, in Pikmin 2, unlike this game, a lot of the items you end up collecting are real-world items. Things like batteries and Famicom games and all sorts of other, like, weird little product placement things that are generally out of place in a Nintendo game, but it's still really cool, and also really kind of depressing that this, like, whole game takes place on our planet after it was destroyed somehow. It's a little upsetting, but also a fun thing to theorize and talk about. Sagittarius, this is a gift for my son. He must be very worried about me. I have recovered 12 of 30 parts, increasing the dolphin's capabilities. My search can now cover a wider area. And thus, we do officially unlock the next area of Pikmin 1. Though, we will not actually be going to that area for a couple days still. After we're done in the Forest of Hope, we do have more business to take care of in the Forest Navel. And this part, I ended up getting kind of confused. I thought I threw 4 Bomb Rock Pikmin up here, but apparently I didn't. So I could only partially knock down this gate, and I thought that was going to mess up my chances of getting the last part. But thankfully, we ended up dealing enough damage to the Black Bramble Gate there that we did knock it down most of the way. Essentially, the Black Bramble Gate, Black Bramble Gates are much tougher versions than the regular Bramble Gates, which is why I've been using Bomb Rocks mostly to take them down. It just saves a lot of time. And this, my friends, is an Armored Cannon Beetle. An Armored Cannon Beetle likes to shoot boulders at you. But, we won't get to see that happen, considering he's dead. Yeah, he kind of breathes in through like a nozzle. Oh, at last my radiation canopy! This turns the harsh radiations of deep space into soft infrared rays that are easy on the body. I'll sleep like a baby once I get this back at the ship. And that, my friends, is part number 4. The last part of the Forest of Hope. But yes, the Cannon Beetle, he sort of breathes in and then fires boulders at you. But, if you clog up the little nozzle on his head, that gives you the opportunity to sort of attack him and prevent him from doing that. And by some kind of crazy miracle, I actually managed to take out the Cannon Beetle in one fell swoop. Usually it takes at least 2 rounds before you actually reduce the Cannon Beetle's HP all the way down. And considering I did that with only blues and not the higher attack power reds, that's actually kind of impressive, honestly. But we don't really have to worry about that right now. The last ship part has made it back to camp. And that really does it for the Forest of Hope. Radiation canopy. I'll have to inspect it later to make sure it hasn't cracked. I'll be in for it even more trouble if I have any radiation leaks. I have now recovered 13 of 30 parts. If I can find just 16 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. So basically, all but one more part. And yeah, for some, Olimar obviously doesn't know what radiation is from that explanation there, but he doesn't know what a Geiger counter is, or what it does. It's a little concerning. Just a little bit. And now, the day is almost up. We got all the parts that we needed, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleanup, see if we can get some pellets back to the onion, and things like that. We could technically try to go get some of the enemies we defeated too, but not necessary. Just gonna grow some flower Pikmin, grow a few more blues, and just let it ride from there. The day is basically done, we don't have to do anything else in the area, and the final countdown has begun. With only a few seconds left in the day, we can say goodbye officially to the Forest of Hope. We have done everything we needed to do here, we got all the ship parts in the area, and the blue Pikmin have definitely proved their worth, and they will continue to prove their worth as the days go on. The countdown reaches 0. And that's all for day 5. Everybody heads back to their little sleepy places in the onion. And we get to take off from the forest one more time before our adventure is over. Dolphins looking to be in a little better shape, honestly. And we get to watch the sad Bulborbs cry out for their food that they are not getting tonight. 5 days since impact. I have managed to increase the range of the dolphin. Looking from the dolphin's portal as it launches ever higher into the sky, I see a vast wetland in the deepest parts of the forest. I shall call it the Distant Spring. I can begin my exploration tomorrow. For now, I must sleep. But as I said, we're not actually going to be going to the Distant Spring right away. That's going to be a day 7 task, because we need to finish off the Forest Navel tomorrow. And, speaking of doing stuff, we can see our stats up here. We sprouted 17 Pikmin today, lost 14 in battle. All to that dang Snagret, really. And we successfully recovered all of the ship parts in the Forest of Hope. So that's going to call it for right now, I'd say. Thank you very much for watching. This is your good friend Sparky signing off for now. I'll catch you later.